Chair, we're ready when you are.
Wait, okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I will now call the May 13th, 2025 Public Arts Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Amen. I like the amen part. Hope everyone is doing well. Okay, Christina, may we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Mojica,
Present.
Commissioner Stouter,
I am so very present.
Commissioner Marks,
Present and alive.
Vice Chair Travis,
Present.
Chair Liebelt.
Yes, present. Okay, agenda finalization. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Ambrose. Public comments. This is the opportunity for members of the public to comment on any items not appearing on the regular agenda. Because of restrictions contained in California law, the Commission may not discuss or act on any item not on the agenda, but may briefly respond to statements made or ask a question for clarification. The Chairman may also request a brief response from staff to questions raised during public comment or may request a matter be agendized for a future meeting. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Christina, do we have any?
Chair, I did not receive any request to speak forms, but if you're a member of the public and you have a comment on items not on the agenda, please raise your hand. And I see none, Chair.
Christina, do we have to read this one in? Okay. All right.
So we're moving on to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Anybody?
I would move to accept the minutes.
Are there any members that wish to speak on the minutes?
I have no request to speak forms. If you're a member of the public and you wish to comment on the minutes, please raise your hand. And I see none. So we have a motion by Commissioner Stouter. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay. Please vote. And motion carries, all ayes.
Okay, moving on. Our agenda, oh boy, to discuss and set the Public Arts Commission meeting schedule for summer. First item we're going to talk about for summer 2025. Are there any questions from the commission?
Would you like me to give a report, Chair?
Oh, sorry, yes. Please
okay.
give us a report.
Hey, we're rusty. We've been away for a little bit.
Right.
So good evening, Chair and Commissioners. The item before you is to see whether the Commission wishes to vacate any of the meetings during the summer months. Typically, when summer hits and the temperatures start to rise, several of our boards vacate some of their meetings. And I just noticed a error in the staff report. The City Council, which normally meets twice a month, will be going dark and vacating their meetings for June 11th, July 23rd, and August 27th. The PACE Commission is also vacating their June, July, and August meetings. Our standing meetings for the next few months are June 10th, July 8th, and August 12th. And then later tonight, we will be discussing whether the Commission wishes to use any of those meetings or schedule a special meeting to go through your applications for the grant program. In order for us to have enough time to have those recommendations to the Council by their June 25th meeting. So I just wanted to raise the item to, additionally just to that, we have a lot of staff also take time off during these months just because we're down to one meeting a month. So I wanted to see what your thoughts are on vacating any of those meetings.
Commissioner Marks, any thoughts, any questions?
Well, I hope we meet June 10th. And I'd like to meet at least in July or August, not both, but kind of keeps me in the mix and in the process for the next year?
Traditionally, we haven't. We have not met in July or August. We meet in June for sure, and then we reconvene in September.
So when we get back to September, is it a very full agenda then? I mean, or?
Not necessarily, because we haven't been here, there's no ideas or anything been coming up to discuss.
So probably as you go forward, we have some items to talk about tonight. So I'm assuming that there would be reporting back on possibly any updates related to the arts event for August. In August, one of the standing things that you'll do at the first meeting, whatever the first meeting is after June, will be the selection of a chair and vice chair. And as we know, unfortunately, there will be a new commissioner joining you for the next round, since Commissioner Mojica is going to be stepping down and not going forward for another commission run. And so the other thing that I would anticipate probably coming as we get into the end of summer is hopefully either working on selection or review of potential artists for Esperanza. So I don't think I think for the things that'll be sort of timely, having a couple of months probably isn't going to be a detriment to projects that you currently have in the pipeline.
Yeah, I wasn't negating it. I was just saying that that's the way I just wanted to hear from everybody what their thoughts were. What are your thoughts about?
Well, I'll be doing the August art show
Oh,
anyway,
right,
and
okay.
that goes anyway, but it does itself pretty much. It's pretty good, so.
And we have everything, there's no other decisions that have to be made before that
No
either.
other decisions.
Okay. I'd say Commissioner Mojica, but sure, whatever.
I defer to you all.
So I sort of am with Gregory. I feel like we have a lot going on. I'm okay, I think, with not meeting in July and August, but I would certainly want to meet in June, and I think I would want to have an additional meeting to do the grants.
Okay. So again, Ann, I'm going to go back to you because talking about the timely way, I'm open to whatever we need to do. And if there is everything about Esperanza Park and everything that's timely that we do need a meeting in August, like September's too long, my thought is for like the grants last year, we did a special study session. I thought that was way more effective than doing it at a meeting. And I would prefer to do that outside of a meeting. So if we do that special session, is there any other items we could also discuss at that time too?
As long as we have it early enough to be on the agenda for whatever that meeting is scheduled, that's fine. And we have that out as a separate item tonight, so I think it might be the next item. We'll be presenting that and for discussion for you to select a date for that meeting. So this item is just to determine for your regularly scheduled meetings. And so what I've heard from the commission is that you would like to keep the June 10th meeting and then go dark for July and August, and then returning back in September.
Right. That sounds good.
Honestly, you're okay with that?
Fine with that. I just wanted to make sure there was communication still open during July and August.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Christine and I will still be here at some point in those periods of time.
If anything, and I'm just trying to think of any of the, other than Esperanza Park, and the grant thing, we're going to hopefully decide here quickly because we have to have an answer back by when?
It's on the other agenda item, but
Okay.
I think whenever you schedule that, if you do that as a special meeting, you will make your decisions out of that meeting, and then from that, I will bring it back to the council. I think we're scheduled to go June 25th to council.
Right.
So we'll need to.
Everybody have their thoughts? So are there any members of the public that wish to speak about
Did
this
not
item?
receive any request to speak forms. If you're a member of the public that wish to comment on this item, please raise your hand. And I see none.
So then do I have a motion and a second to approve the summer meeting schedule as discussed this evening? So I guess we have to say what that.
So you're requesting approval of a motion to keep your regularly scheduled June 10th meeting and then going dark for your regularly scheduled meetings on July 8th and August 12th.
I so move we accept the changes.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Marks. Is that what I heard? A second by Commissioner Strouder. Okay. Please vote. And motion carries. All ayes.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
So now, speaking of your grant,
We're what?
the next item.
Oh, so next item, schedule community arts grant application review.
All right. So good evening again. So just a little bit of background. In last fiscal year, the City Council approved the Community Arts Grant Program to be administered by the Public Arts Commission. And a budget was established of $20,000. And in the last cycle, you considered applications, and the full $20,000 was allocated. We have started that grant process again, did the request for applications. 13 applications were received for the funding for 25-26, which again is another allotment of $20,000. And that process started in March. Grant applications were due in April. Tonight, the item before you is to consider scheduling a special meeting to review those applications. And then in order to get that onto the council agenda by June 25th. And the reason we're trying to do that, that is our last meeting for the fiscal year. We would like to get the recommendations to the council for approval so that the period of funding is the full fiscal year, so July 1 through June 30th, July 1, 25 to June 30th, 2026. So in order to do that, it would mean that I would need to get the recommendations from the commission no later than June 11th or maybe the 13th at the latest. So I wanted to put that out to you to see if there is a date that works for all of you to review and consider applications. We can do it the same as you did the last time, schedule the meeting room downstairs so that you can all kind of work across from one another and discuss the applicants.
I'm sorry, what were the two dates you mentioned?
What I need you all to meet and come up with your recommendations no later than Friday, June 13th. That is what I need to be able to take that information, put it into a staff report to be put on the agenda. So that's the 11th would be desirable, the 13th at the very latest.
And Commissioners and Ann, we do have June 3rd. That Tuesday is open since the PACE Commission is dark. So that Tuesday at the same time that you all meet is available, June 3rd. Just throwing that out there.
So the same time, like 5 to 7.
Yes.
You can help us out with the grants. You're going to help us out with the grants?
Am I?
Yes.
I mean, I'd love that.
I would love you to. Oh, because I don't know, technically, when does the term, is there like an official?
June 30th.
The June 30th, so you're still we still get your pleasure of your company,
Yeah,
yes.
it sounds
Yeah, I
good
would
to
love it, okay, good, okay. So that means that you're involved in coming up after, so you said June 2nd?
June
June 3rd.
3rd, Tuesday,
June
June
3rd.
3rd.
It's a Tuesday.
I'm just looking at the calendar, okay.
Sounds
Everybody,
What time?
that works?
we need to vote?
Same time, 5 to 7? That works for everybody?
All right. So June 3rd. So if we could have a recommendation to approve June 3rd as the scheduled special meeting,
Does that need to be a motion, you mean?
a motion, yeah, sorry.
But are there any members of the public that wish to speak first?
I see none, Chair.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so
Do
yes,
you have
now
any,
we.
do you have any objections? Kristen?
So do I have a motion then?
Sure. As worded by the wonderful Ann.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Strouder. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
A second by Commissioner Mojica. Please vote.
Okay.
And motion carries. All ayes.
Great, thank you, everybody. I think that's going to be fun. to look at that and go over those. I hope you have a chance to do that. Please, take the time and, go through and, like we did last time, it went pretty efficiently. The next item we're looking at now, we're going to talk about is the Public Arts Commission Arts Festival.
And I'll just do a short introduction and then turn this over to Commissioner Stouter.
And I apologize, I did miss a comment from that last item.
Okay.
Chair, I am going to go back to that last item. We did receive, the comment that you have before you is for a couple of the items, and it was for the previous item.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so the following comment was received for the record, provided to the members of the commission, and provided in the front for public inspection. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to that item.
Okay.
Thanks, Christina. So at a previous meeting, Commissioner Stouter had proposed that the Public Arts Commission sponsor and help put on an arts festival in the Cathedral City Community Amphitheater in 2026. The proposal, and through his further research, would be to follow the guidelines established by the Riverside Art Museum Market. And if this event is done, the funding would come from the Public Arts Commission's general fund budget, which will be $10,000 again for 25-26. And with that, I will turn it over to Commissioner Stouter to talk about the additional information that's been provided to you in your packets.
And for some reason, I'm having trouble bringing it up. I have the staff report here. I have attachments, but
If we go to attachments, should.
it's coming up somewhere else. Nope. Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, but if you should, it should be showing all of your.
Right, and when I do that, is all I get
is
is,
That's a weird one.
is all I get is
Yeah,
this.
because I have them all.
Okay, it's all right. I'll fake it. So the subcommittee, consisting of myself and Vice Chair Travis, has met twice now. Yes, twice, I think. And we're at a spot now, and you can see this in the attachments. Let me backtrack for a second. The attachments are a couple of pages worth of notes and a draft timeline. There's also some documents from the Riverside Art Museum in terms of how they did their art show, since in many ways we're going to copy what it was that they did. So the last time we met, we spent most of our time talking about a timeline, and we have since gone back and forth adding some things to that. Our next goal for the next time we meet is going to be to firm up some dates for that timeline, and to do that we also need some folks from the city to sit with us. So I don't know, Ann, if that would be you and Ryan or just Ryan, but we need to firm some of that stuff up to get clear on, that first meeting we had, and to make commitments on stuff. We would love it if you all would join us for that next meeting.
Yeah, I think definitely it would be probably Adam Chastain and Ryan and myself. And because again, I think it's also just making sure that we have a pure, a true budget picture of what the costs would be, because ultimately we'll need to take that full proposal with that budget recommendation to council, because the council has to authorize all expenditures. So
One
happy
of the things
to.
about our timeline is that we'd really like to get the council on board in the fall, no later than the fall.
Yeah, I think the sooner the better on that as well. So certainly whenever you're ready and want to have that meeting, we can get that scheduled.
Okay, so we'll reach out and do that. And so that was Rick and my goal, that the next thing we get done is firm up the timeline with dates. And that's really the update, that and the notes that you have. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask me now or reach out at some point, and I and/or Vice Chair Travis would be happy to answer those for you.
Did you want to mention a couple of things that people might want to be thinking about? Like we were talking about contacting the local high school music department for some potential performances?
I was going to, it's in the notes. So if you guys review the notes, you'll see what we've been up to and some of the ideas that we've had moving forward.
There's another person that's, we just met today. Since we are joining the Desert Recreation District, they have just hired the individual that is going to work out of Cathedral City, that is going to be the direct person that's going to help program for our community. And so she's probably somebody as well that I'd like to introduce you to see if there's any supportive needs for the recreation department now to support the event. Awesome. But that's another contact. So maybe in that meeting we can bring her to the table too to see if there's something that they would also bring to support the event that you're proposing.
Perfect.
So my question, do you have an idea of when you would, what time of the year or like what month you would like to see this happen?
So we have a date.
Oh, you actually have an actual
Yeah,
date?
so that'll be the last weekend of March,
Okay,
2026.
okay.
And one of the reasons we came to that date is that it would make our art event the last one of the season in terms of outdoor. The other issue was Ryan mentioned that one of our signature events, Gay Pride, is earlier in the month, and he would want a couple weeks of breathing room between that and another big event. So that's why we ended up picking that Saturday. So
That's March 28th.
thank you, March 28th,
And it's just that one day?
just that one day,
So would it be the Saturday or the Friday?
Saturday.
So Saturday the 29th, unless I'm in the...
29th?
Nope, you're right, I'm in the wrong year. Sorry.
One day? It's
I'm
like
sorry?
one day or
For
two?
the first time, one day,
Smart.
and we'll see how it goes.
And would Friday be like load-in or something, or?
Well, so it's an awfully convenient spot to load for lots of reasons. So I don't know that we'd need to do it the day before. I think we could probably do it early on Saturday morning. If we did do it the day before, that would require security, so that obviously adds to the budget. Although I suppose Rick and I could just bring a tent and flashlights and
Yeah.
we'd be good. But, so yeah, I think at the moment anyway, that's kind of nebulous, but my guess is we'd probably do an unloading early Saturday morning.
Most art shows are like that anyway, and then if we did do 2 days, they would still, as an artist, I would take mine down. And
Well, if we
I
did
would,
2
because
days,
there's no way I would leave it overnight. There's-
Yeah.
If we did do 2 days, the producers of those all provide security, so the artists don't have to take everything down.
How many artists are you expecting or hoping for, or?
So I think the goal we're going to shoot for the first one is 40,
Okay.
and that's, 40 10x10s or a combination of tents that look like that. How many we end up having up on stage is another matter. And one of the things that Rick and I talked about was that we'd like to have other subcommittees formed from this group going forward. So there's a couple people who are looking at performing arts on stage and approving people's applications to be a part of that, and a couple of us looking at the artists themselves and approving those applications, because we certainly want to vet everybody who's going to come to the show, whether they're a performing artist or a visual medium artist. We also had in mind someone to possibly MC on the stage, Craig, but I won't mention any names or initials, Craig. Someone with a booming voice, Craig. So that's kind of where we're at on all that.
I heard his agent is really hard to negotiate with, but I'll see if I can put in a good word for you.
Please do.
You don't want to see his rider.
Yes, I'd be happy to do whatever we need to do because I really I'm excited about this and I want it to be a success. And with these subcommittees, like we're reviewing the artists, that's not anything we need to come back to the commission for or cities and council approval if we decide we can approve the artists, right? Because there's no fees involved, right?
We think, well, there are fees involved. to the
Okay.
artist.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to charge the artists, you mean, or, okay.
Although a lot less than any other show.
I understand that. So I'm just saying, is this something that we do need to come back and do a
So typically, I think at the point that you have sort of your run of show, who you're going to have, performing, we generally, the council don't necessarily approve who those artists are unless we're doing a large contract with them, but we do try to just kind of keep them apprised of, if it's a city-sponsored event, who we're bringing in and what's going to happen that day, and because often they like to be able to be there to support it. So, as you are going forward and come up with, sort of, okay, here's the artist, we're going to have these musical acts or these performers, we've got 40 artists committed, we're going to have some food trucks or whatever the event becomes. We would usually just do like a little presentation to the council of what that's going to happen, especially because this is a new event and the council really is interested in seeing new events go into the amphitheater. And being that this is something being put on and sponsored and led by the Arts Commission, I think this is definitely one that we would want to bring to them. You will obviously, for the budget, have to have that approval. So whether that is done simultaneously or you have, kind of a not to exceed budget and then you finalize the program later, will just kind of depend on how this develops for you. Okay. And that's where also I think the communication staff and Adam and Ryan can help with, they have their connections to musical artists that we've used. They know the pricing. They, probably aware of others. You are probably aware of others. So I think it's an opportunity, whether it's new people that we haven't seen perform before, to, again, bring more diverse opportunities to the amphitheater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that's what I'm thinking too. I think it's a great, so having said that, because I haven't looked through this, basically, are you thinking like 10 to 5? What are you thinking, time-wise?
I don't know that we've got that far.
Okay, gotcha, okay. Okay.
It'd be in that range, something like
Yeah.
that.
And interestingly, Chair Liebold and I were at the Perez Art District Walk, I don't know, whenever the last one was, and we were speaking to one of the artists that was there, and we're just talking to her about the different events and talking to her about this proposal that the commission was working on, and had mentioned that the desire of the commission is to have an event where the artists just get to keep their full take. And she was really excited by that and just thought that was very generous to have an opportunity to display and pay just modestly in order to have another venue to sell their art.
And also have us provide the gear.
Yeah.
So they don't have to schlep and haul it all.
Yeah.
Just say that we get a very positive interest. How many, these are 10 by 10, these are tents that the city has?
Yes.
What's the maximum amount?
So they have some of them, not all of
Yeah.
them,
Okay,
but most of them. And one of the attachments is a diagram of 10 by 10 tents inside the amphitheater.
You should have yours back on your screen now. I think they've reset you, so you might have it.
So
is that the map?
Yes.
tentative map, yes, so tentative map, click on that. So this is 55.
Hold on a second.
I'm sorry, 54. So this is 54, and then it also gives us. Yeah.
Oh, great,
And then
okay.
it gives us, so like I said, we're going
That's
to try
fabulous.
for 40 because I think 40 is how many tents or double tents we actually already own. And if we need to go over, we'll go over. But this,
This is my question though, but we have 40 tents. Okay, got it, okay.
ish, 38, something like that. And there's still plenty of room on the grass and the sides for things like food trucks and a child's play area.
Yeah. As you've seen with the Tuesday night Taste and Sounds events, we've generally had the main seating, main crowd in that center area. Along the far right, sort of parked, or the concrete area is where we've generally staged food trucks. And those sort of areas on the side, certainly could be used for other things. I could see there being other tents or other things possibly set up in those areas or along the pathways. When the Brewfest, I think Luchador did a beer tasting event, and they used a lot of the concrete areas to stage tents along there so people could just kind of walk around on the concrete. So yeah, I think, and certainly our event staff would be able to help you formulate a plan to best maximize the space once you understand the vendors that you're trying to bring in and the different activities that you're looking to do.
So I think this is brilliant, and I think it's a fabulous use of space, and I love this layout. And my only thought was, if performances then, if the families or things, if in front of the stage, it looks like there would not be that much grass if people actually wanted to sit on the grass. So we would clearly have to provide seating, like chairs and that thing.
So we've actually talked about that.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how much in the weeds you want to get tonight. These are still really
Okay,
early.
no, just general, just, so you've already taken that, so there is enough space.
It's one of the reasons why we'd like to keep it around 40.
Gotcha.
So we have a little more space up there in the front.
So so if you take out that first row next to the stage, the rest of that would equal 40. So that's the additional, got it, perfect. You answered that?
And folks are like allowed to eat with no problem. I mean, are we
Yeah.
going to have food trucks and stuff?
Yes,
or-
yeah,
And folks can eat anywhere in the park.
yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, again, not knowing what they've already talked about, the city does have some picnic tables like we've used for our Taste and Sounds. So there is, potentially some seating that we would already have available if people wanted to sit in the front that could potentially be provided.
And Ryan seems to think that we can scare up enough volunteers among his contacts and us to basically not have to hire people to put up and take down the tents. So, we'll meet with him and flesh that out a little more, but
That'll be great. I'll be really good at by then.
Yeah.
After you do 40 of them.
That's a lot of practice, right? Yeah, that's a lot of practice, yeah.
But what we really appreciate, I know just speaking for Ryan, that they really appreciate the lead time that you're giving to work with them. The event season for the city has started getting really busy, and there is such a small staff, and so I know they really appreciate how far ahead you've started considering this, how far ahead you've reached out to them, and that you're continuing to keep staff in the conversation so that they can help you plan and really understand what the true costs are, so that if there is, if there's certain things that are outside of the budget, what are other opportunities that we would have or funds that we would need to put together to make it happen. But I think with the city having the majority of sort of the infrastructure for this, it does reduce the costs pretty significantly.
I'm still pretty committed to a neutral budget, so fingers crossed. We'll see.
No, we appreciate that. And
Gregory?
Yeah, I'm like so thrilled about this, and I'm so thrilled there's going to be a performing arts portion. How are we branding this? I mean, what is it going to make? How are we going to be unique from all the other arts festivals happening in the valley?
So, I would say it's early days, so I wouldn't want to try to give you a complete answer. That's one of the things that we want to see come out of meetings with folks with the city. But certainly, we've bounced around some cute names, like Art in the Amphitheater, or like the, Cathedral City Festival, first annual Festival of the Arts. So, how we market it is still to be fleshed out, but those are some early ideas of what we might call it.
I mean, I just think we capitalize on a tremendous amount of artists that we have right in Cathedral City, but
Well, interestingly, I was looking at the schedule, that is going to be the day of the fourth Friday for March. So potentially there's some way to tie in, the Perez Friday, having a Saturday event, and just broadening that reach.
Yeah, absolutely.
we have, it could bring that other my thing about doing something with that walkway, the bridge.
One of the things we're going to do is bring invitation flyers to artists when the fall season starts. So there'll be a show down in Palm Springs. I think there's another one maybe in La Quinta. And so we're going to hand deliver invitations to artists. And, everybody I've talked to about this who does the tent circuit, the art show circuit, when you say there's going to be no commission and we're only going to charge you about $1.25, they're incredibly excited.
I think we're going to have a really nice, I just might guess.
I think you're going to have more than you bargained for, and that's not a bad problem to have.
No. And this is just throwing this out there. When I think about the art festivals or things like that, I keep thinking of even our Scrap Gallery, right? SCRA, is that short for something? And I keep thinking we want to do something that's catchy. So I like that Cathedral City Arts Festival. So CC, but it's like CAF.
Art in the Amp.
Yeah, no, but I'm thinking
Yeah,
that's
something that
right?
catches.
I mean, my favorite is Art in the Amphitheater. I think
I know, I was
you make
looking
a
at what
great,
the alliteration
great
of that
logo
was.
with that. I think there's all
Again,
kinds.
repeat that.
Art in the Amphitheater. That's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite. But we'll see how all that fleshes out.
Amphitheater, yeah. So I was looking at AITA. So that's, my marketing brain goes to what does that look like in, right, if you did it, so the initials, but I do too. I like the idea of using the amphitheater because nobody else in the valley does that.
Yeah.
I think that's very clever, part of that too. And yeah, I agree, Commissioner Martin, it's like, how do we just set this apart? How do we make this more distinctive? And actually, by using amphitheater, like all the festivals, they don't do performing arts with their festivals. And that's how we are going to become distinctive with this. And so, yeah, that's great. So,
And I should, in case she's watching this on TV, I should probably give a shout out to Mayor Nancy Ross, because the actual idea to use the amphitheater was hers while we were having this conversation that I wanted to start an art fair in the interview that I had for this commission. She's like, let's use the amphitheater. And so you get credit, Mayor.
I think she's still recovering from the amazing State of the City address that she gave earlier today.
yes.
So anyway, that's my whole report.
So Ann, when you were talking about the desert recreation, they might be able to help us with, we were talking about a kid area, maybe they could be that.
Yeah, so like I said, the person that's going to be assigned to us, I want to say Patricia, but I don't think that's the correct name. But she is just starting now, and we have a meeting sort of on the sports programming on Thursday of this week, but I can talk to her about that. And again, what we're hoping to do is just starting to connect her into things that are already kind of moving, things that are, again, here's a planned event that we're working on. How can, we as a city haven't had a recreation program, so we haven't had anybody to coordinate, kids programs or activities. Scrap Gallery is a great partner. They have historically provided a lot of those kind of hands-on kid activities.
That's who I was thinking for.
Yeah, so I think they would certainly, it would certainly be another resource to bring to the table to talk to you about what your needs are. And again, I think they have also other reach for other programs, other organizations that, again, might help just round out what you're trying to attempt
And they
to.
probably own some 10 by 10 tents if we need any extra.
We could certainly find out.
Great, good stuff. Now, I guess we all have some homework, right?
Yeah.
Anybody, any other questions, any other comments?
I thought I read somewhere when I was reviewing today's meeting about subcommittees for performing arts and something else. Was that to this, or did I read it somewhere else?
Yes.
Am I making that up?
No, because he just verbalized that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I just talked about it. Some subcommittees to help us choose who the performers are going to be.
So are we going to assign those at any time? or-
You're volunteering?
Yes, of course.
Because I'd volunteer to do it with you too.
Oh, you did? Did
Okay,
I?
No,
done.
I will,
Please.
yeah.
I wasn't asking for that tonight, but done.
Okay.
So Chair Liebeld and Commissioner Marks will be a subcommittee on entertainment
Yep.
On everything stage,
stage.
Performing arts.
how
Got it.
that ends up looking.
Performing arts.
Every-
And just so you know, I have reached out to Cathedral City High School bands because
So you reached out to who?
I'm sorry, I reached out to Cathedral City High School bands, and I haven't connected with anyone yet, but they have so much talent and so many different kinds of performing arts programs there. That might be a good opportunity to partner with them too.
Does that high school have a show choir? Anyway,
Yeah, show choir,
yeah.
yeah.
Go
And then
ahead.
there's that other high school of performing arts, I want to call it, the one in Rancho Mirage too.
Oh,
I forget what their actual, forgive me, what their actual name
Yeah.
is, yeah.
they've got that musical theater university that's
Yes, that one, yeah.
amazing, so,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
Right.
Yes,
Anyway,
that'd be fun. Yep, great. Anything else? Anything to add? Any
Pray for
questions?
good weather.
Commissioner Travis, all good?
Good, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Christina, are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Have any comments?
Yes, Chair. The following comment was submitted for the record, provided to the members of the commission, and made available for public inspection at the entrance. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to this item. Are there any other members of the public that wish to comment? And I see none.
Okay, so this item was for discussion only, so there's no formal action that required. So that means we're going to move on to item D on the agenda. We're talking about a budget and submit a call for artists for the Esperanza entrance sculpture. Ms. Ann, your report?
Trying to have a presentation go up, but our system is giving us fits today. Yeah. Monsters in the machine, ghosts in the machine today.
Hate it when that happens.
All right, so next item is to talk about sort of moving forward with the Esperanza entrance sculpture piece. Oops, whoa. This is my wrong one. Anyways, I'm just going to not do that because that's being more difficult than it's worth. So we've been talking about the art piece for a while, and this is Chair Liebelt and Commissioner Mojica's project or subcommittee, along with the PAC commissioners Jimenez and Herrera from PACE. We had a really great community engagement meeting with the residents of the Dream Homes Park back on March 18th. And I'm very grateful for a member of our staff, Michelle Molina, who was able to do translation for me during that meeting, because I felt that me communicating sort of the needs was kind of met with a lot of stares, and when Michelle was able to engage with the residents in their native languages, she got all the information out of them. So it was really, I think, a great meeting to hear from the residents about what themes or what meaning this sculpture should have. And the words and phrases that they shared with us were resilience, rising from the ashes, transformation, metamorphosis, growth, regeneration, rebirth, and inviting for all children. One other thing that I didn't mention on this, but has been just a reoccurring theme as we've talked about this park, and it was echoed that evening, is safety. That the residents really want to make sure that this is a place of safety for the residents, that they want it to be something that is utilized by the community and that it doesn't become a negative place for the community. So also during the discussions, the participants were asked if they had any specific images that aligned with the themes above. And the responses that we got were, for sort of ideas for the sculpture, were a boy and girl with flowers, a police officer with a boy and girl. And again, that one really aligned with sort of that safety theme. Butterfly with rainbow colors, a rainbow after the rain, big butterfly with children underneath it or looking at it, and a butterfly kind of rising out of a cocoon. And then interestingly, as we were looking at some of the student drawings, there were a lot of samples within the student artwork that had butterflies or rainbows and or love or heart type of themes amongst it. We had 192 artwork pieces that we got from the students, which was just really cool to start going through those. So really, where we're at is we need to establish a budget for this project, and that would be sort of a not to exceed budget amount that would include artist fees, materials, shipping, installation, other costs. And usually we do probably like a 10% contingency just in case. And I know originally when we were talking about what this piece might cost, I think we'd been tossing around the idea of like $70,000. But I know during that meeting, Chair Liebelt was kind of rolling his eyes that with the imagery and I think the desire of the community that probably a $70,000 budget is low for what we would potentially need. The total budget available in the Art and Public Places Funds is $373,066. And so that is the total funding available for purchase of public art. And so what I'm looking for is some recommendation on a potential budget that would be all-inclusive. And then we would work on putting together as staff the call for artists. And in discussing sort of what kind of call with another arts coordinator here in the Valley, what we recommend is that we put out a call for artists. The commission go through those applications and select 3 artists that you think the city that could execute this vision. And then we would give them each a stipend, probably $1,000, to come up with a concept for the art piece. And then once those 3 selections were, proposals were made, we would engage again with the neighborhood and the broader community to get feedback on those concepts and hopefully come to some consensus on which one the commission and the community would like to advance. And then we would bring that forward to the city council for approval. And we would enter into a contract with that artist for the design and build of that. What ideally, I think, if we could get this process kicked off and done during the summer months so that when we come to the fall, we can award and have construction in the fall. So, or the fall and winter months, being that those are all times of year when you can build things and do things outdoors here. So that would be my recommendation, is to sort of give a not to exceed budget amount, and then we can put something together for the council to get their authorization so that we can move forward.
So I'll just start this out because when I was thinking of having just done the Karen and Tony Baroni sculpture exhibit, when you look at that they're 3-dimensional sculptures, yes, but they're not 360-degree sculptures, if that makes sense. I was really impressed by the community and the thoughts and that imagery, and the reason I started rolling my eyes, because I agree with the community, and I think it would be fabulous to have children, boy, girl, and flowers and butterflies I see coming up and rising up above that, but those are 360-degree dimensional figures. That's very different than just say what the Baronis do. We just say more flat versus that 360 degrees. So that's why I immediately started going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And then the Baronis, you go from aluminum to steel or to bronze. And bronze would be probably out of our range. I mean, it would probably take the entire budget if at that point to do, just say, if we choose to do a 3-dimensional child, flowers, etc., that bronze would be. So then I started looking at, then you could do combinations of things, like certain elements could be this material, certain elements could be that material, could certain elements be 360-degree dimensional, and then flatter elements. There's just ways to play with that. And again, that's for the artist to come up with. So since having that thought about that, and again, it's ultimately what we all decide and imagery that we're presented, right? And we all decide. But that's why I went 70. And because again, then you start thinking the size and scope of what that's going to be. So I'm thinking easily it would probably be about a third of that budget then. 120, because any sculptural artist that works in those metals, it's got to be worth it for them too, right? We can't, so I'm thinking easily probably like 100 or 120, like jumping at least to like that 100 range and the low 100 range. I think that's going to increase the amount of people that submit for that kind of sculptures, because at 70 to do something with that conception. So now I just want everybody else's thoughts.
Yeah, and so my comment, I guess, is more, or a question is more for Anne and for the benefit of the public, just to understand the budget and where these funds would come from. So the Art in Public Places Fund, those are funds that are strictly earmarked for art, and they come from developer fees?
Yes.
Right?
These are development fees that are paid specifically for public art. So developers can either if their project qualifies to have to pay that fee, they can either build a sculpture themselves or, build a piece of art into their project, or they can deposit that fee with the city for our use for advancing public art in the community. And so this is only for the development of those things. As we did previously in the budget, we moved out all of the programmatic costs, the grant costs are in the general fund. So this is just purely for the development and acquisition. So all of the costs related to that will come out of the Art in Public Places Fund, not the general fund.
Correct. So it would be funds that are not being pulled from any other area of Cathedral City Services. It's specifically for art. Right. Thank you.
Any thoughts, Commissioner Mojica, about budget-wise? Because at the meeting when you were hearing, what were you thinking about that too?
Yeah, I think this community has been waiting for a long time for art, I think, and for this beautiful park to open, and I think that they deserve to have something that does justice to this transformation and this new phase in the community, and I think we have this chance to do it right. And so, yeah, I think if we have the funds to give them a really beautiful piece that's going to last for a long time and really represent the wishes of the community for what they want in the art and the different elements that they discussed, we should go for it.
Commissioner Stouter?
I have nothing to add to that. I'd support whatever amount you folks think is appropriate.
And then just in addition to that, have anybody been thinking, have you gone to look at any monumental sculptures or anything just to get an idea or sense? I'm just curious,
I've looked at some around the valley. I spend a lot of time at the Gala in Palm Desert, and of course there's a big sculpture garden right behind there. Those are probably akin to the size that we'd be looking for here. And I haven't gone as far as to find out who the artists are or anything like that, but I think a proper call to artists would take care of that for us, especially with the kind of money we're talking about.
Right.
I was looking at, there's a website that I often reference called CodaWorks, and CodaWorks is sort of a website for finding talent for people that are commissioning art, and they have, sort of a portal for, current calls, and I'm not looking into them, but there's one that's RFQ for a public art sculpture in Nashville Youth Campus. That's $400,000. There's a downtown activation exhibit that is, $50,000. Sorry, I'm getting some weird pop-up that's driving me nuts. Mural project, $30,000. A garage activation, $1.2 million. So there's just a range of, fire station, some kind of an art sculpture, $62,000, and that's Texas. So I don't think 120, inclusive of the, the 3,000 for the design and having a 10% contingency is unrealistic, I think, for that. And I think it also is consistent with the investment that's made in the park, and I think the desire to do something really special for this community and for this park. So I can work with that to put together the sort of broad budget proposal for the council and the process for artist selection, and then can work on that request for proposals. And as I indicated before, we would include all of the feedback that we've gotten from the community. I'm looking to see what the easiest way is to, if not put all of the student art, at least there were a lot of students that did pictures of the playground areas and things, and then there were those that I think really did something artistic about what that art piece should be. So we'll work on a way to have the artists have access to those drawings. Just again, might be inspiring. They might be something that they would incorporate, but just to give the opportunity of all the feedback we've gotten from the community to this point, be part of that.
I was thinking that too in the call to artists, because I loved when you hear all those words that they were given to write about that. I think in the call for artists, those words should be in there too. Absolutely. To think in that process, and then any not 192 necessarily visual, but to narrow it down like some, so they get a sense of that. But I just wanted to hear from both of you as well, what your thoughts are about monetary amount.
Well, I did a lot of research on Dreams Homes because I really didn't know anything about the neighborhood, how it came about. And all I can say is that they deserve a phenomenal sculpture. They're getting a beautiful park. The sculpture needs to be as beautiful as that elementary school that we went to. And it's like,
I agree.
you know, so whatever we do, it has to be lasting, beautiful, strong. And I think there's so many great ideas that what it should represent, and like transformation, metamorphosis really speaks to me, you know. And seeing all the kids like talk about butterflies, you know. I wish we had a butterfly garden at the park. I mean, it would be so lovely. Anyway, I'm all for it. I'm all for the budget you're recommending. You know, as far as what it looks like, that's going to be very subjective. So, but I hope we all have some kind of input.
That's a discussion. I mean, once we get submissions, for another time. Yeah.
I agree. I think that I like the idea of what Ann was talking about with the $1,000 to get the people to present what they have. And I think that we're truly doing our best effort to get what we can. I think we just have to figure out what that dollar amount is for us that we're comfortable with. And then I let the artists know what they have to work with. And
Vanessa, I'm asking you, so what are your thoughts about the dollar amount?
I think we're fine with
The 120?
Yeah, I think so.
A little more, a little less? I mean, I don't know.
I think we'll have to find out what the city council approves, but yeah.
Well, I think the proposal for 120 is fine. What I will do in the council presentation is kind of do the breakdown of, the sort of the defined costs of the $3,000 for 3 artists to be selected to develop a concept, and whatever the contingency, and then the remaining amount that's left is for all costs related. So that's their artist fee, that's their materials costs, that's insurance. If they need an engineer to figure something out, that's all of the costs that would go into the building of that.
And was the base part of the original structure, or did we wait?
We don't have a base in there currently. Right now there's a tree planted there. And so we hadn't had the base in there, but I think it's going to depend on what the piece is.
Right, I think you're right, because it could be round, it could be square, it could be whatever, whatever it is.
Yeah, and and I'll talk to Public Works to see if they still plan to want to do the concrete, or if we need to roll it into the budget for this. But I still think 120 seems like a good budget, and I think, again, is reflective of the investment and the significance of this park.
Has there been any thought about when we eventually send out an RFP? Is that what you call it for art? I don't know.
It would be a call for artists, but basically it's a request for our procurement would be kind of a request for qualified bidders. So we'll put out a request asking for artists that have the capacity to do and execute something like this.
And is there a possibility that part of the packet that's sent out will include all those representations from the kids and what they drew? I mean,
yes, absolutely. I know. I mean, I think of like if you were like a mosaic artist or something, the idea of incorporating some of the kids' images is just amazing. But I think it's inspirational, and I want to include all of the feedback that we've gotten from the community to share with the artists, so that they sort of hear directly from the community what their thoughts are, not interpreted through us.
Do you think there's a possibility that we could just post all the kids' pictures, like on a little
Like in a
thing,
gallery?
so that artists could just?
That's what I'm going to work on, kind of like something how we share files with you, that we have some link available that they can click through and see the art from the students.
And when would the recommendation go before council?
Probably, I'm thinking maybe July. It may be the late June one, just depends on how I get my act together. So it'd either be the June or July meeting. And then I would say probably, I'll have to work through the timeline, but probably a month or a month and a half for the call, and then a period of time to come back to you to review the applications and make a determination of which artists you'd like to advance forward, and then kind of go from there. So I'll have to work through kind of a timeline, but I would say that it would probably be in early fall that you would have a group of artists to look through, and then work with them to identify what their, I don't know what the construction timeline is for something like this, so
Depends on the materials.
yeah.
It's a big proposal, so that call, when it goes out, I'd give them at least 6-8 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
And really in that call, we're looking for examples of their work, examples of that they've done work of this size and scale. I think there's, a lot of artists that have specializations, and there's some that are really specialized in doing larger public pieces that, know about, think about engineering standards, and, we want to make sure that this, I think as Commissioner Marks said, this is stable, that it's, securable, it's going to be accessed by a lot of people, can we make sure that it maintains its, we can maintain it well, and all of those things. So we'll work to incorporate that kind of language into the proposal, and get you a group of artists that I think will represent the city well.
This would be nice because people on the CV link can stop there and take a photo, and and it'll be a great photo.
We have another item on later this afternoon to talk about another art project that will directly impact CV Link.
Any other questions? Any other comments about this? Are there any members of the public that wish to speak about this item?
Yes, Chair. The following comment was received for the record, provided to the members of the commission, and made available at the entrance for public inspection. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to this item. Are there any other members that would like to comment on this? And we have no others.
Thank you, Ms. Christine. Appreciate that. This item was for discussion only, so there's no formal action required.
Actually, it does require an action on this one.
I do apologize. I wasn't sure which way the discussion was going to go. So it sounds like you're approving a budget, correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so we do want to have a motion for that.
What I've heard from the commission is a not-to-exceed budget of $120,000, and staff will work with that dollar amount to put it into a proposal to bring to council for authorization.
I move that we move that motion forward.
So the move is to recommend a budget of not to exceed $120,000, and that will be inclusive of the artists' costs, all of their costs, the costs of shipping, cost of construction, $3,000 for the top 3 artists to develop a concept, and then contingency. Okay.
I
I
second.
second. Oh,
Okay.
go, you go, you're the artist, you second.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Chair Liebelt and a second by Vice Chair Travis. Please vote. And motion carries. All ayes.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so next item, we're going to talk about a possible installation of a mural at Esperanza Park. Ms. Ann?
Speaking of, let's see if our... So good evening again. Where'd my screen go? Okay. I lost my screen, but that's okay. So we are really excited that Esperanza Park is officially going to open May 22nd, so next week. And if you haven't gotten invitations, we'll make sure that those are sent to you. We're going to be doing a little ribbon cutting event early that morning before it gets too hot. So probably won't be more than an hour, but this is something really important that we as a community have to celebrate. John Corella and staff have been taking the council and some staff out on tours of the park. And during one of the recent tours, our Public Works Director came back, and he just had this idea of, we have a restroom building that the back of it, so the solid surface of it faces CV Link. And it's a block structure, but he thought, would that be would the Public Arts Commission be interested in maybe commissioning a mural for that? Not only would it enhance the park, but it would also, from the trail side, be sort of an entranceway and gateway into the park, and can be a welcoming thing and just sort of an artistic statement along the CV Link. The space for this mural would be, it's approximately 30 feet wide and about 9.4 feet high. It kind of does a little dodge on the thing, so it's not in total 9.4 feet high. So this is the rear facing view of it. So as you can see, it's 28 feet, and then that little bit at the end is an additional 2 feet, 9.4 feet tall. It is kind of a cement block structure. And here's a view of it from the CV Link. So as you can see, the CV Link sort of enters the park right from that location. And so this is sort of the rear end of the park and an entryway into the park. And so I think he thought that this could be just a really neat opportunity for sort of an artistic statement for people that are just riding the CV Link or people that are entering the park from this location. And that's just another view coming from CV Link looking at that piece. And just one more view. So I just wanted to present this to the Arts Commission to see if you thought that might be a good idea, to see if there is a desire to maybe do a call to see if, we wanted to do a nice mural for that. And if so, again, this would be something we would need to determine a budget for, go to council for authorization, and something that I would see done in the fall-winter timeframe. So something that I think we could come back with, after the summer break, and put out a call and do something, later on. Again, I think it's an opportunity for additional engagement. Potentially you could think about looking at artists that would involve the community actually in the making of the mural. I've seen that done in other communities, and again, just another way to engage the residents from that community in doing that. If you would like to maybe not do this one and, again, look at maybe other projects, that's certainly fine, but the staff had just asked if I would bring this to the commission, get your thoughts, see if this is something you'd like to noodle on and maybe advance, and if so, then we'll just need to come back and think about what the budget could be for that.
I think I'll just open this up. I think it's a great opportunity, and I think because it's visual from that CV Link and from people entering that way, I think it is definitely for that community to for people to enter that community with something aspirational, inspirational. The only thought I have, though, too, is given the budget for the sculpture, I'm happy to do this, and I think we should do this, but I just want to make sure that no other park is starting to feel like all the attention or resources are going to one park versus them. So, I'm just being sort of...
No, I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
We haven't really... We just did the Ocotillo Park, so we did an art installation there. I think we have parks that don't have
I think my concern is
sculpture yet.
Century Park.
And that certainly can be, something that the council can look to of whether we, start to look for a piece for that park or do something with that park. But right now, there hasn't been anything before the council for there to be any pushback against. So,
No, I understand,
but it's a fair
just
question.
me being sensitive because I want every park and every person, every neighborhood to feel like they're as important too. But I know that this is new and it's an opportunity to get this set and established. The timing obviously makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as if you were another park, knowing that something else would be coming in the near future, right? So that you're not forgotten, that we're considering other things, but obviously with the resources that we were given outside of the city to make this park happen, we do need to, like, put the finishing touches on this and make sure, I feel make sure that it's just really pulled together, and it's beautiful from everything I've seen so far, so, yeah.
I personally haven't been out there yet, but one of the videos in the State of the City today was taken in the park, and just seeing the gym equipment and the playground equipment was just really, really cool.
Pretty fabulous.
So I'm looking forward to seeing
Yep.
it as well.
Everybody, I'd like other comments, please.
So I love the idea of murals. They can be a hassle to take care of and maintain, but I still love the idea, and I love the idea of putting one there. The idea that I don't love is doing these two big projects at the same time. I really feel like we need to nail this sculpture. We've got to get it right, and we should put as much of our energy as we can into it and get it done and get it right and make sure the community's happy with it, and then move to have murals done. That's my only thing. I love the idea of doing it. It's just timing for me. I feel like we should put all of our attention at one project in the park at a time.
Well, I think it would have to be in the winter anyway, because it's just too hot to do a,
Sure.
a mural. So I think that
Sure.
we could start working toward it and get some ideas.
Yes. So the timeline, again, the call for artists for the sculpture basically is going to be over the summer, and we're going to be choosing that by fall.
Hopefully.
Well,
And then-
choosing 3 people by fall.
No, I understand, but that's going to be in the works, and just say if we get that decided by December, by winter, by December, then we could look at this, we could just say this could be part of the one for like then spring, for completion by, sometime in 2026?
26.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no timeline. This is not, staff just sort of wanted to put it out.
No, I
Staff
think it's
didn't have
great.
any expectations of when we do this, that it be done now, that it be done with the park. I think the only thing I could think of is if that back wall, just having that access to the
I agree.
the bikeway, if that becomes tagged or things like that, then there might be a desire to put something on that wall to hopefully detract from.
Probably whatever happens, that wall's going to get tagged regularly. And so maintaining
Yeah.
the whatever the mural ends up being is going to be important.
And certainly, if this is something we want to talk about more, I can bring it back and just kind of keep it on as a running discussion to talk about it, or to, work out a schedule, or again, see if it's desired or not. So,
Well, I think that I think that we could start planning it, because you could get the process going and all that, so that and then we can launch it whenever we feel comfortable with it. But I think that we can do the work up front while we're
Right.
doing it, because I think that once we get the murals going, then that could just lead us to the next mural, because we'll have that down. I
Right.
know that probably murals have been done before, but it was a whole different group of people, and so we'll have that down. So I think that kind of keep the momentum going. And I would be interested in working on that if you need help, like gathering information or pricing and stuff like that.
well, and I think that is information that would be needed. I don't know what sort of the going rate of a mural of that size would be, and so that would be some research. I think, even trying to plan a budget for the commission to even consider of, for the art that's out here, and murals of certain sizes would have been some of the prices for that kind of work.
And I think that one thing is that there's so much effort and funding that's been provided for this park, that to not do it, I think would be like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
wearing tennis shoes to the prom or something like that. I don't know, but
I'm not
just,
saying
you got to
don't do
complete
it.
the
I'm just
outfit.
saying we should maybe wait till we get one huge project there.
We
done
understand.
first.
No, we understand. I just would like to hear from Commissioner Marks first, too, please.
I'm all for it.
You think we should do it?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I agree. I think, we all agree it definitely should be done. So this is for the staff, right? Because we all want to do it. It's just going to be information, because like you, this is the one area I don't even know what the going rate for a mural is. With all of my art background, I would want to find that out. The irony is, I was literally, and even I met him today, a gentleman approached me. He's an agent for a mural artist. So I said, the universe, speaks in mysterious ways, right? Timing, right? So, and I think for all the bench artists, I think that we have an easy, like, to do a submission would be relatively easy, but I think definitely we need a budget and to figure out, like, all of us, and then for all of us too, to eyes and ears open for anybody that you would want to submit something to, so that we can all bring something. We're obviously do a call, but then, like, for me, like, this guy can say, now, yeah, absolutely, we have this project coming up, think about it, these are the, and start coming up with ideas that you want, that they gives them time to, like, mess with it. So, I think, yeah, definitely, it's something to consider. It's just going to be about when and figuring out what the budget would be.
Have there been other recent mural projects that the commission has approved, or, besides that bench project?
It was at the benches.
That's very different than.
I know, but I
I
was.
don't know what the last mural project, it would either have been the library, the, what do you call it?
Field of Honor.
The Field of Dreams, the building that's out there has a mural on that. And then there's the mural that's on the little building downtown. I don't know if the Public Arts Commission paid for that one or not, or the one of the fire station on Cathedral Canyon.
I've seen that one. That's very cool.
I'll have to look back through our records to see if we had any pricing, but those have been a little while since they've been done. So I'm sure there's been more recent examples around town that probably have more contemporary pricing.
I went to Coachella for a meeting one day, and the murals they have there are pretty amazing. So I'm sure they could share some good information with us. And we have Flat Black that Crystal has contacted before that I think they could be helpful.
Yeah.
I would definitely be willing over the summer to start gathering the information so that,
Right.
then we can always launch it whenever we want to launch it. But I think
Right.
that we don't need to push the work back. We can just get in and start doing the work. Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of that, like I said, keeping your eyes out for mural artists that we'd want to submit, looking for things that we can get prices of. So, and this is just way tentative. So you're right, Don, we're going to focus on the big sculpture through the rest of this year. But then as soon as that, we know that we're really on track with that and that's going. My next question, Ann, is with all the new development over here, is there any developers' fees? Is going to be additional funding? None of that? Okay. I'm just curious.
The current development fee is for structures over 15,000 square feet, and none of the buildings in the complex across the street are of that size. So the new construction won't bear it, but I think some of the tenant improvements that will get some funding from the tenant, or did get some funding from the tenant improvements. So.
Okay.
Quick question. So murals are covered under the Art and Public Spaces Fund? Okay,
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
Awesome.
And maintenance comes from there too?
No, maintenance comes from the general fund. We can't use it for the maintenance, and so we have we allocate about $30,000 a year for maintenance of our collection, and that usually includes, I think, twice a year we'll have them cleaned. If there's any damages, I know there's one of the sculptures has some damage to the base, and so we're looking at fixing that, or if a plaque becomes missing or things of that nature, we try to maintain it out of that.
One last comment, I think the fact that you view it in a CV, what is it called, the link connector?
CV Link.
Is there anything else along the link connector that's representative of a mural?
Yes.
Would we be, there is another one?
Are there other murals or are there other places for it? I didn't hear what.
Oh, there's lots of places.
On the,
Are there other places?
Seen murals? Have there any been done so far?
yeah,
So I think.
okay.
Ask the
No,
biker dude.
What I was thinking was there's,
Commissioner Stoddard, I'm sorry. Could you speak into the microphone, please?
sorry, there's at least 2 or 3 other places along the CV Link here in Cathedral City that are just screaming for a mural, but that's, got to be down the road a little bit. I think the CV Link itself's got to get established and it's got to work its kinks out, which I think it's doing right now. A lot of people have started using it, including me. And they're putting little finishing touches on it, but I think once that's all done, you'll be able to get a really good idea of the kinds of public art that we could consider, planting there.
Anything else? Good. All good? Okay. This was consideration only. Oh, actually, are there any public comments?
Yes, Chair, the following comment was received for the record, provided to the members of the commission, and made available at the entrance for public inspection. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to this item. And that is
Great.
all we have.
Thank you, Christina. Okay, moving on to the next item. To talk about considering an acquisition of Karen and Tony Baroni's.
Christina, you don't need to bother. I'm just going to read from, yeah. You can take that one down if you want.
So, Ms. Ann, is there a report?
Day. It really was fun to come into work every day and just see the vibrancy of their pieces, seeing those bunnies or looking at our public works director's window and seeing, supersized French fries or the ice cream cones and just all of the 14, and ultimately it was 16 because they switched out 2 and brought 2 new ones in at the end, pieces of art around the Civic Center. I think it was also a nice sort of trial run of other, potential opportunities that we would have to do temporary exhibits in Town Square. I think for the Baroni exhibit, I certainly saw more people in the downtown park, walking through, taking pictures than I've seen people normally go through that park. So I think it really did achieve its purpose of drawing people into downtown, drawing people into our community, and hopefully learning more about what's happening. I know when we had the grand opening or the kind of ribbon cutting for the event, speaking to some of the other individuals that were there, friends and patrons of the Baronis, I heard from many that they had no idea that Cathedral City had this really wonderful downtown park. So that bringing new people in helped people rediscover our community, which I think was part of the outcome we had hoped for. So Michael Fiacco, who was the director of the Chuck Jones Gallery, who really brought this project to the commission, who also represents the Baronis, wanted to inquire as to whether the city was interested in purchasing one of the sculptures. Currently, the city does not have a Baroni sculpture as part of its permanent collection. I know in front of the auto dealerships, there are 3 pieces right there. I don't know if the dealerships purchased them, if that was part of that they paid for that back when they built. I'm not sure where they came from, but of the city's collection, we do not currently have anything. And so they wanted me to bring this forward to you to, again, see if this is something you think you would want to recommend to the council, think it's a good idea, and if so, I think probably further discussion about what piece and where, so that we could get pricing and have a discussion about that. But again, there's no timeline for this, but in your packet, I did include photos of the sculpture that were at the park, as well as some other items that were are part of their collection that are located in their home studio, which is where all of these pieces live when they're not out hanging out in our parks or rented out to other people. So this is just a discussion item for you to see if you think this would be a type of sculpture that you would like to add to the collection. If so, how you'd like to proceed forward on that. I think if it is a desire and there is a piece that the commission is interested in, we would bring that back to the Baroni to get their kind of best offer of pricing. I think a lot of these pieces, just in sort of inquiring about sort of pricing, I think the one that was Happy the dog that was in front of the movie theater, I think that was around just sort of retail price about $20,000 to $30,000, just for sort of a ballpark. I think the ones that are more like the French fries and the others would be higher than that because of just their fabrication and construction. But that was it. Just wanted to bring this back to you to think about, to discuss, and just seeking your direction. This also, if there was an acquisition, this would also be purchased out of the Art and Public Places funds.
So I know definitely I want everybody to, their thoughts and comments. It just definitely seems to be the, my quick thought is, it's interesting because this is my now 3rd year, but we haven't purchased anything major. I mean, the investment in the public, the bench project definitely was that, but we've not done any major acquisitions of major sculptural things for anything, so it's,
I think your last acquisition were the sculptures outside of the amphitheater parking lot. Yeah, and I'm blanking on the artist's name, but there's the three kinetic sculptures that are out there. That was, I think, the last acquisition. And the thing with the Art and Public Places funds, it's, when it's gone until the fund gets replenished. So this is sort of the finite amount you have right now. Every year, as development fees come in, that adds to it a little bit, but it's not, if you spend $300,000, you'll see that replaced overnight. And so it's just, as you spend, then, it takes a little while to build that fund back up again.
And isn't a whole bunch of sculptures at each of the entrances of the city still in our future somewhere?
Yeah, in the proposed budget, that will go, there's going to be a study session on the full budget, or a presentation on it tomorrow night, and then in the June meeting, the budget will be adopted. But there is funding in the proposed budget of, I think we put in $125,000 a year for the entryway monument signs. So,
but I think he's asking is it's not coming out of our.
no, it's coming out of the general fund.
It is coming out of the general
Yeah. So those are the one that is, if it gets constructed, the one that is planned for this coming fiscal year would be the East Palm Canyon entranceway coming from the east, heading west into the city. So that would be the first one that would be done. And they have been planned one a year for the next 5 years into the capital projects. They're not funded yet. This budget year is funded, but every year when the council would consider it, they would have to make sure that allocation is there, because those are purely funded by the general fund.
Maybe one of these sculptures, if we pick the right one, might be a good one for something like Century Park, or too.
Commissioner
Sorry,
Stouter?
go ahead. Was the request for this from the gallery unsolicited?
I think just because we've had them here, and there was such a good response to him, he wanted to inquire about it.
I think it's a combination. I know that I myself and other commissioners before that had wanted to do an exhibition of their work. They've been on our radar for a while. They're in other cities up and down the valley. They're lovely. They're people, and so I don't
my only question, my only issue, because I love them and love their work, and how can you not, right? It's beautiful stuff. My only question is that if we take up consideration of an unsolicited request for us to purchase something, it means we have to take up a request every time someone approaches us to ask to purchase something. And is that something we really want to do? That's my only issue.
My thoughts are similar to Commissioner Stouter's, and also it feels like this isn't time sensitive. So if they're members of the community and their collection is local, perhaps at a future time when we see where the development fees are at, after some of these other major projects are completed, and maybe if at that time there's an appetite to purchase or to add to the collection, that we could revisit this. But it seems that there's nothing really motivating this other than, of course, the recent exhibition. But yeah, I feel like that's something that could be revisited once you see kind of where your balance is at in the future.
I think another opportunity that as a commission you might want to consider, that maybe when we come back in August, that staff put an item on the agenda for kind of discussion about like the year ahead, and sort of like what you'd like to plan to do for the year. And so whether that is, obviously we have the arts event coming in for the year, but what are your other goals for the year? Is it working on acquisition? Is it working on completing the one project of the Arts Festival? But if there are some goals that kind of collectively you want to look at for the city, and then use that as a driving force for what projects you want to take on for the year. that might be, something that we can kind of put together an item for your consideration. I know in the past, there's been, I think in prior commissions, there'd been discussion about just a desire of making sure that that we were looking citywide for art installation, that right now we're very downtown heavy because we have city land here, we have, we have a park, but there's other areas in the city that don't have as much access to that. And so that had been a previous goal of the commission, but maybe some time for you as commissioners to talk about what your collective goals are and then let that help guide what projects you want to take on for the coming year. Yes.
And could you repeat again about the budget for this?
Yes.
It wouldn't be coming out of our budget, but
It would be coming out of this purchase. So any purchase of an art piece would come out of the Art and Public Places Fund. So that's the $360 some odd thousand that you have. So any of these projects, the mural, the Esperanza sculpture, if the commission wished to purchase a Baroni piece or any other sculpture, all of that would come out of that budget. And we never know how much is going to be in there. It's completely dependent on the development activity in the city and what development projects are required to pay a portion of that fee. And so it's, as you use it, if the money isn't there, then there won't be any other new big projects until that fund builds back up. So right now it's at a higher level than I think it has been in the past. But I think, as was said before, the commission hasn't really commissioned anything with the exception of the bench project, which was fairly low dollar amount comparative to what you're looking at for Esperanza. So it's I think you have a healthy budget there, but it's just if you decided to fund projects and spend $360,000, then you wouldn't have any budget to do anything else out of that till it got built back up.
I think the distinction you're asking, though, too, is we're talking about monument sculptures to mark all the entrances to the city of Cathedral City. So the distinction difference is the city is accepting that as their expense because it's something we're going to, for the...
It's a monument sign versus we're considering it as art.
is there a way we can see what is on the timeline for future development of the 111 corridor, which is so god-awful? I know that there's that new project with the Chipotle and is it I can't remember.
Starbucks, Chipotle, Farmer Boys, and a gas station right now is the first phase of that.
Can we see the development plans for that? I mean, I'm wondering, it's how's that corridor going to be transforming in the next 5 years? Because that's one thing I'm always hearing from folks coming from either east or west, and they said it's like a lost opportunity, and it's because it's pretty dismal. Well,
it's private development too, so the city doesn't have a lot of control over that and their timelines. We certainly had, I think, hoped that it would have been done sooner, and for whatever reason, it's taken them longer. One thing I will send to you is we do currently have on our website, we have two different links. So one of them is a GIS map of all of our current development projects. So you can go online and see what all of our current development activity is. Separately, we have one for our capital projects, so our road projects, and if the city was doing any building projects, the park project, we have a separate one that talks about all of those capital projects. So I'll make sure to get the link to all of you so that then you can just have that accessible. If somebody's asking you, it's like, okay, well, let me go look it up, or you can give that to them.
Commissioner Travis, any other thoughts?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
I have one more thought.
Sure.
I guess because we haven't gone through this process too many times during my term, I think one thing that I think about when I think about purchasing art is usually I have a space that I want to put art in, and then I kind of tailor the art to that space. And it doesn't have to be commissioned for it specifically, but knowing what space you want to fill with art and versus buying the art and then trying to find a space to put it in. And I feel like there's a little bit of a risk there in acquiring a piece and then trying to find a space afterwards, and then maybe it ends up in storage or something. So,
I mean, I'm going to address that.
but I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating.
And we have no
That's an
storage for
excellent
it, so.
No, but I think that if we were serious about thinking about purchasing from them and to go back unsolicited, I think that we were given an opportunity to display all these pieces. And the natural question would be, would you be interested in buying one? I mean, that just seems like a natural sort of progression. And definitely, if we were even to consider it, that before that would even, I would say, where are we going to put it? And what's the intent of it? And that from there, then you would go ahead and select the piece. That's my 2 cents. And again, I keep thinking about these parks that are underrepresented or don't have enough, and putting things in, in other parts of the city.
So would it be helpful maybe in that August meeting if staff came back and, again, just for sort of planning purposes, we could bring back, with a map of, here's currently where our collection is, here's where we have things, here's, to me, I'm visual, and so that helps me sometimes to see, okay, well, maybe here are some other opportunities or places that really, areas of the community that are really lacking, and maybe, whether it's a park or whether we have right-of-way someplace or something else that would be opportunities to look at, okay, if we had the opportunity to put a piece in someplace, would, just using the Baroni sculpture as an example, is there a place that would be a desirable location for something like that? And then what would the process be to get there? Would that be something helpful for the commission to have? Okay.
Very helpful.
Yeah, I think, yes, if, like I said, certain parks are like where there's nothing, and again, those parts of the city, I just don't want them to feel left out, but it's always going to come down to having absolutely something that's appropriate for the space that's and selected. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts and questions?
So no action, keep into consideration, but we'll kind of hold off until you all come back in August
Ask
to.
if there's any of the members that public that wish to speak.
Yes, we did receive a comment. This comment was received for the record, provided to members of the commission, made available for public inspection at the entrance. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to this item. Are there any other comments from the public? I see none, Chair.
Quick question, Ann, you keep saying when we come back in August?
I was going to ask that too. You mean September?
September.
There you go. Okay, I was going to, thank you. I was going to ask.
Wanted to make sure you didn't schedule a meeting while I was in the bathroom.
My brain not working.
No worries.
Okay, so then we're going to move on. The next item up, we're moving on to is an update on the donation of a Craig French sculpture, and that's something that I've been working on, and my apologies, I had it, and it asked me to bring like some more specific information, and I had slipped my mind, and then I thought about it, and I was talking to the gallery director, and I literally, between she and I just didn't get it till the last minute, literally.
Give me like a whole hour to.
Yeah, an hour this afternoon. So these are the pictures of the actual sculpture. Speaking of, finding the right piece but this thing, because it's being donated, I was asking the director of the gallery, Lisa Dempton, if the collector wanted to be named, and she's checking into that. So he was just wanted to do something generous for a community. We were lucky that he heard about us and what was going on here in Cathedral City, and so he offered to donate this piece. I think it's a very visually interesting, striking piece. The main two pieces, those are stainless steel. The base is regular steel, just meaning that's why it's patinaed, and that base will continue to evolve, the color of it over time. Then you're right, as Commissioner Mojica said, it's the piece, but then it's the place. So Commissioner Travis and he had brought up the idea of the library. He and I went to look at the library, and Kristen was thrilled, and I took pictures of that rotunda, and literally putting it right there would be amazing. Because for me, I saw ozone, but what I always think of, something piercing thought. And with the books and the idea of piercing thought, or, sort of a progression forward, is my interpretation when I see this piece. she was thrilled that it would be great. The area of concern is because of that pointed tip. So my recommendation is we looked at the space, the height, that would be perfect. They're going to do refresh painting something of the library. I'm suggesting, and hopefully they can change the lighting a bit so we can throw some spotlights onto the piece in the future. My recommendations are that the pedestal base is built at least 40 inches tall, somewhere that 40, to put that point literally above my head, even my head, so basically like 7 feet, 8 feet. I know, yeah. If you're the Jolly Green Giant, you have to worry. So we have now the dimensions of the piece, the base of the piece. Oh, the other thought, sorry, I stepped away from the microphone, but my voice carries anyway, right? So,
Not through the microphone, though. It's for the listening audience and for
Gotcha.
Christina when she has to try to do minutes afterwards.
sorry, no, but I caught myself. The other thing I was thinking then about the expense of moving it. So again, I reached out to the gallery director, and she said the artist would be happy to actually move it here for us with a couple of help for $200. And I went, excuse me, what? So that also is makes it very easy. The value of the sculpture is placed at 19.5. It's not too big. I was thinking even the pedestal, if there was some way to incorporate putting wheels, with brakes underneath it, so literally the library can even move it around if they needed without a lot of having to plan people to come in and do it. If so, great. If not, great. It is the perfect place. Kristen was thrilled. So getting the price to move it was what I was concerned about, and finding the right place. And I think that Commissioner Travis and I agree it's like the perfect place. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts are about the sculpture and about the place.
I love it. I love the whole thing.
Any other? Nope.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
You made that too simple. Come on.
I think, it's giving me Interstellar. I like it. Just one other thought is, in addition to the pedestal, you could probably have like stanchions or something if people were still worried about getting too close to the art piece. But yeah, so, looks good.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah. Yep. And I brought it back. If you haven't seen it before, I do have his book here. And you can see he's in many personal and corporate collections. So he's very, in a sense, well known. I was thinking if we ever wanted to do, any kind of dedication or a little something when they refresh the library, do that, have him come back and do a little reception. It's another social event that we could tie into actually our quarterly art exhibits. Because it's in the, right? So there's a way that we can, tie that in together too. So, yep. Thoughts?
Remind me how this came to us. Did he approach us, or did you approach him, or how did he?
The gallery owner, somebody, I've known her for a long time. A friend was heard this guy talking about this donation, and this friend mentioned that I was now on the Arts Commission. So she called me and asked me if we would like to receive a donation.
Is he a local artist, or?
He's in Los Angeles.
Oh,
I think Los Angeles or Orange County.
Okay. I like the piece. It looks dangerous, but I like the piece. So.
Any comments, thoughts?
No, I think it's pretty exciting. I think it's going to really add to the library, and I think that rotunda is a perfect place for it.
And tie it into one of the quarterly exhibits, I think that'd be fantastic.
Yep, I think so too. So, okay.
So what we need then is to perhaps staff work on a quote for the base. Okay. And we'll bring that back.
Is the base. Oh, I forgot. 250. Look at this. Now I have it all. Once I have the information, it's in my head. 250 pounds. The weight. So I was surprised. I actually thought it might be a little bit more. So I know. So I was happy that. But I still think having it mobile, like if there is, could possibly, and if that gets too engineering wise silly, just to think about that, because that's not so heavy. But
And I'm going to ask the library if we need to get approval from the county library system. So we'll have to, we're having some discussions about other things in the library right now. So I can bring this proposal to them to ensure that the library, because we're the landlord of the building, but the library operates and maintains the interior. So we have to also run it by them to make sure that they're okay with that being in their space, since it's their liability for anyone that comes in and loses an eye or something.
Yep. Yeah, no, and that's why I said, and if the pedestal again could be even adjusted just even slightly, again, just to keep it up at a certain height. That's just my thought, is to make sure it's high enough and it's not an issue.
Yeah.
If it's out
Kids aren't climbing on it or something like that.
but they shouldn't be. So I agree. Then it comes to if you have to rope it off or just to make sure, and you could test it and see if people even try to do anything with that. But I think they would hopefully just be inspired and kind of leave it alone.
Nope.
I guess at that point, is this, we wait public comments, if there are any public comments?
Yes, the following comment was received for the record, provided to the members of the commission, and made available for public inspection at the entrance. David Kozlow expressed his opposition to this item. And Kristen, would you like to comment?
Speaking of,
Hello, I'd just like to express my great desire to have that at the library. I think it would be great. I did bring it up with the county director librarian, and that's who told me that it needed to go by county, but I don't foresee them saying no to that. The only other thing they mentioned is please make it earthquake safe. So it's not going to come tumbling down.
tell
So
them.
that might be the thing that negates wheels, is to make sure that you have a 250-pound chunk of metal that you want to make sure is not going to fall over on that. So,
Right.
Let engineering decide that.
yeah.
That's up to, yes, engineer.
I'd also, just while Kristen is here, just want to say thank you for your cooperation and making space available for the quarterly art exhibits. That has been just invaluable.
Yeah. And how much we appreciate you and everything you do. Yep.
Can I, on that same thought?
Yeah. Absolutely.
This quarterly art exhibit is going to be a little different. I know it's not on the agenda, but real quick is that, so Kristen, if she has to leave, she can go, is that on the Friday before, which is next Friday, we're having a reception from 4 to 7, and I'm trying to bring it up. We've got some really great things. We have Conrad Corral came over and interviewed all the artists and is putting together a really nice piece for us. Ryan has really come up to the plate, and he's getting us on all the electronic bulletin boards. So we're trying to up our game. We have some really dynamic artists. They're all dynamic, but there's some really interesting ones coming up in this review. Yeah.
And I think bringing the art to the library, that visibility, and we really would like to partner with the library more. So that's why Kristen, appreciate all the support there, because there's so much more that we can collaborate and do together for the community. And I think it's just the beginning. So yes, so I think, so we appreciate that and, and the support. So, I was happy when this piece came to my attention. And like I said, the gallery director, Lisa, and I, we've known each other for a long time. So we've been, talking back and forth. So do we need to we're taking action on this?
There's no action other than staff will need to come back with some, I'll need to talk with Public Works about potentially getting some quotes for what that base would be and recognizing the liability concerns for that. So we'll work on getting that back to you.
And again, so we would be responsible financially for covering the base, right, too, as well?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're accepting that as a donation, the city would be responsible for to be able to present that, and so that would come out of the Art and Public Places Fund budget too.
Got it. Okay. Just so everybody's aware.
And then is it still at that same location it was at?
Yeah, it's still at
So they
the
could
A
just-
Gallery Fine Art in Palm Desert. It's still there in the front window. You can even see it at night.
So they could go look at it if
Yep.
they have. Yeah, that'd be.
What was the name of the gallery again? I'm sorry.
I know it's A Gallery Fine Art in Palm Desert. And Lisa Dempton's a very, very cool lady. She's been in this valley for a long time and had a gallery there for 40 years. So she's extremely knowledgeable. Yep. Okay. So no more comments. At this point, I guess we're at that fabulous time of the evening, Ms. Ann, for staff comments.
I do not have anything.
You don't have anything?
I'll think about probably something the second we walk out of here, but at this time, I don't have any additional
I
comments.
think we've covered a lot, though. So
There's a full agenda.
We appreciate all the insight tonight so far. So in that point, we're going to turn it over to, let's start on my right, Commissioner Marks.
Me
Yep,
first?
yep.
Okay.
Commissioners' reports.
Well, not a lot has happened, but plenty has happened and not enough happened, but since our last commission meeting. But I was able to attend we met March 11th, right? March 15th, I attended the Red Party for the LGBT Community Center, and it was very well attended. There were thousands there, and it was a myriad of red in all shapes, sizes, genders, non-conforming, fun and twisted, and all at the same time. And pretty amazing in terms of the creativity going on. But I experienced it. I probably won't go next year, but it was good. It was very cool how they used the Air Museum too. It was very cool. And then, of course, on the 16th, I attended the Love Letters at the CC Senior Center, and I just was really thrilled with the outcome of that. And it was really a satisfying afternoon at theater, and I'm really happy it showcased two former commissioners. So I'm glad that we were part of that granting process. And then on the 26th, I attended the Classical Voices performance of Hansel and Gretel at the public library. And with I know the opera very well. I've done The Witch actually in the past, but it was just such a sweet, endearing, and humorous performance, and small production that's adaptable to so many spaces. And my favorite part were the kids. They were adorable, engaged, present, and I always loved a child who knows how to step into their light and own it. And there were several in that group of kids. So I approve.
That's great.
And I was really proud of that they were a recipient of one of our grants. And I saw pictures of the performance from the senior center that looked like a full house. It looked like it really well attended. And Doug Nagel told me that they've been picked up by, I can't remember if it's another funder or another city to do several more performances locally. So I paying it forward, So I'm really thrilled about the outcome. And then I had my accident on March 29th, and I was planning to give you lots of reports on what I had seen and attended in San Francisco and what I had on my plate for Washington, D.C., but none of that came to fulfillment. So, I didn't do anything until I attended the Palm Springs Village Fest last Thursday. I hadn't been a long time, and I really liked how it felt. There's been a real great attention to the artists and the vendors there, and really great buskers, and I started listening, and I'm going, okay, how do these people apply? And do any of you know who produces Village Fest? Is it produced by the city or?
No, there's a committee, and you have to apply to it, and you actually get vetted, sort of interviewed or vetted to be accepted to be one of the vendors in that.
Is it a committee or a commission or?
It's not a committee because it's not the city; it's a private. But there's a committee that you have that review you. Yeah.
I'll have to look into it because I've heard a lot of artists that I'd love to bring over here at some point. But that's all I have to report. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be functioning in some way, and
we're glad you're back. We're glad you're well and on the road to recovery.
And by the way, right here, it's I heard everything 90%. So
Fabulous.
I don't know if you're suffering at all, but thank you for the change. It's
Good.
Okay.
great.
Thank you, Commissioner Marks. Commissioner Stouter.
So I feel like it's been such a busy season, and it's been great. It's been great to see all the art-related events, especially those that this commission has supported, including the Brony exhibit, Love Letters, Hansel and Gretel. There's been various show openings I've been able to attend at. I'm trying to keep in the microphone. I've been able to attend in Perez Art District. Seeing and having the opportunity to photograph Desert X was a lot of fun. Thanks to the city for the delightful volunteer appreciation dinner they hosted for us at Nick's Bistro. I was able to attend the opening of the Through the Lens photography show at the Artist Center in Palm Desert. And I just noticed that my husband has written here, insert shameless self-promotion here. So I think I'm supposed to say that I have a picture in that show. I do have 3 other shows coming up that are all pretty local to Cathedral City. One opens on May 23rd at the Desert Art Women Gallery. It's called Photo Alchemy, where various photographic artists will display and discuss the process of creating unique work. And I'll be debuting a new photo series called Freedom Out of Focus at that show. If everything goes to plan, the owner of the gallery, Juliet Voss, and myself will be talking about this upcoming show on KESQ TV Eye on the Desert that's going to get filmed on Thursday. I don't know when they're going to show it. They just say we tape it on Thursday, and I imagine they'll show it within a couple of days, if not the same day. So that's happening, and of course I'm going to take the opportunity to plug the Public Art Commission and the Perez Art District, because why not? We'll also, myself and some other members of the Artist Collective, I just had the opportunity to invite Vice Chair Travis, are also going to do a show in the Perez Art District to celebrate Stonewall. And it's going to be Friday, June 27th, will be the opening at the same gallery we're in, the Desert Art Women Gallery. The 27th of June is something like 56 years from the night that the Stonewall riots started. So it's close to a lot of our hearts, and we're looking forward to having the opportunity to mark that. It's going to be a wine tasting and a nice social event, so everybody's obviously invited to that.
Commissioner, if you have any flyers on that we can advertise on Discover, please.
I don't yet, but I will.
Thanks.
As soon as I get something else done. I have a graphic, actually, I can send to you. That'll work. Of course, right around the corner is one of our quarterly art shows at the Cathedral City Library on May 24th and 25th. And I just want to once again give a shout out to Vice Chair Travis Rick for all the time and effort that he puts into making these shows happen. I'm supposedly on that committee with him, but he really does do all the work. And all the best ideas for what goes on there really come from him. So just a shout out, nice job, good work, sir. I've never been, in all the years of visiting Palm Springs and living out here in the desert, I've never been to the Palm Springs Cultural Center Camelot Theater. And so my husband and I went to see David Sedaris on May 3rd. He was every bit as funny in person as he is in his books. Tim, my husband, stood in this long line to get a book autographed. And David Sedaris, he's been a huge fan of his for years. This is the first time he got to meet him. He was all starstruck. It turned into this big thing. David Sedaris drew him a picture in the book for him, and they have all these common things. It was a lot of fun. I was really glad that we got to do that. And finally, I'm looking forward to the grant-making process this year. It felt so collegial last time, and I know we'll make some great choices together. And I'm really, really glad that Crystal will be here to do that with us, but I'm really sad that you're leaving.
Thank you, Commissioner Stouter. Speaking of Commissioner Mojica, let's go with you.
No, I'm going to get emotional. No, I actually might get emotional. Maybe another commissioner wants to go first.
Okay. Yes, we can. Okay, so Commissioner Travis,
Sure.
if you go, please.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is really busy this year. It's been a great year. I know that I will have shown 17 times by the end of the month, so it's it's awesome. I love it. And thank you, Don, for the invitation to June also. But so what's going on there is that on May 30th, I just found out yesterday that I was selected to show at the Riviera on the 30th. They're changing the venue a little bit, and they're doing it in the lobby more, and they're having less artists, so we had to reapply. And so that will be happening really good. Thank you. Thank you. And so then also on, just to review the thing on the quarterly art show, it's the 24th and 25th. The 23rd will be the reception. I hope that you guys can pop in. I know Terry Hastings is one of the artists, and he's also with Perez Road, but he's going to bounce. he's going to bounce back and forth, and we'll send them over to Don, and you send them over to us, and we'll be great. Because he'll be working that.
What time?
It's from 4 to 7. Yeah, I put it. And then, like I said before, that Conrad filmed everybody last week and is working on that this week to have some promos for us. We have really good advertising. We have a new flyer. We're going to do a new flyer each quarter because we're having all different artists. So we just don't want to look, we want to look at freshening it up a little bit. So I'm trying to up the game a little bit. Kristen has been really nice because the library is closed on Fridays, but she's going to come in for the reception and open it for us. So that section anyway, yeah, right. Okay, so that's good. Also, because I don't have enough to do, I'm on the code development committee. I don't know why, but
Because you volunteered.
because I volunteered. But it is very interesting. It's a whole different part of my brain I have to use. We're going off to the other side of the brain on that one. But I find it very interesting for what's going on with the city, and I really commend the people on that committee. Also, I saw all the things he talked about, all the Hansel and Gretel and all. But also the other one we did was, I think we saw Dame of Broadway, and that was my neighbor who was the guy who wrote a book about a lady who was a survivor of the Titanic and became the first female Broadway producer, and that was really good. He was so excited to do that. Working with Don is awesome. I'm so excited about art in the amphitheater. I think it's going to be it's going to work out really well. Everybody's going to do a really good job on that. Also, I thank Don he helps me more than he says he does. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And what else is there? Oh, I've also been showing that believe it or not, the Tool Shed, which is a nightclub bar kind of thing, and I probably sold the most I've sold anywhere. So it's kind of amazing, yeah. So that was fun, and that's getting to meet a whole nother group of artists. We have such a wonderful art community out here. I can honestly say that I think I've never met like an artist that I didn't like or wasn't helpful or learned something from. So it's like it's just an incredible community to be an artist in, and I really appreciate that. And that's my pitch.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mojica, just remember, you still have one more meeting on June 10th, and then the special study session, but you ready to
I am.
talk a bit?
Yes, I'm emotionally ready. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the small reprieve. I want to say thank you to you all for volunteering your time to do this work alongside myself. And it's been really great to have your partnership and your thought leadership, and you are all very considerate of the folks that you're representing and that you're making decisions on their behalf of. Thank you. And so yeah, big thank you. The last 3 years went by really quickly. When I applied and got the position as a little 32-year-old, I was like, dang, I'm gonna be 35 by the time that's done. Like, that's so far, and it just flew by. So I feel really lucky to have been able to experience this, to represent the community that I grew up in, and hopefully encourage other folks of my generation to be more involved in local government. Civic engagement is really important for the longevity and the economic development of this region. And so I know that I'll be encouraging folks to participate in any way that they can beyond this role. And so you guys will see me around. And that's all.
Oh, trust me, we want to keep you around as long as possible. Remember, it's been amazing to work with you. And as somebody who myself has come from outside of this area, to have somebody like from here that grew up here that's so heart-centered here about the empathy, the passion for your own community, and how you bring that to this group has been fabulous to be part of and witness. So you're gonna make me cry too.
I'm looking at any of you.
Like never having done anything public, doing it together from a different from age perspective. It's just been really fabulous, fascinating, and I'd always love to hear about your work that you do, because you're an extraordinary human and what you bring, the compassion to world. So I've told her before, probably a few times, she's probably sick of it. I'm just going to be fascinated to watch her career and how it goes and where it develops. But because of your input, and moving on to my remarks, what I think that I feel like we're not done, but it's been a productive year. And I've been very grateful to be a part of that. And also, after doing the grants last year, I made it an effort to try to get to every event that we supported, just to be present. I don't expect any of us to be able to make all of them, but I think I actually did, except for the Hansel and Gretel. I made it to pretty much everything else. And I was really, again, the diversity of that, the community, watching the community show up and be there is what we set out to do, is create events for the community, and watching that happen. The other thing I was very impressed with what Ryan and Adam did with the tastes and sounds of Cathedral City, the concerts, just every week I was just like, wow. Every week I was just like, wow. And it's not if I'm going, it's who else can I get to show up with me. And so it's literally what it became for me. I was so impressed by everything about it. Again, when I first moved here, the few times I moved here, watching there wasn't enough of an art scene for me at the time, but now watching, keeping up with it, the performances, the theater, the things I've done. I went to go see Desert Cities. CV Rep was impressed with that, and the other performances. And then going to Perez Art Road, and now I've gone a couple times, and I've actually become one of the people purchasing, like 2 separate times, because, and just watching the caliber of art, the quality, the turnout, it's everything that I could have hoped would have happened for this city, and just watching it happen before our eyes. It's like magic. And still going to all these events in other cities and having people come up to me, oh wait, we've heard about what's happening in Cathedral City. We want to donate something I was like, really? Because that person could have easily done that for Palm Desert. The gallery's in Palm Desert, and that's but no, we're hearing good things. There's just so much happening down there. So I'm just happy to see it, to feel it, that we've been part of these years, and you've been part of that momentum in bringing heart back. And like I said, it's that heart and compassion for each other through cultural and artistic expression. That's the universal language. That's what makes a community vibrant. That's what attracts people to it. That's what makes people want to be there. So I am happy to continue that. I'm sorry that we won't be doing that with you, but yes, you're going to help us one more time. I pick for the events and things for this next year, this next season. And
there's a need to fill a position, so if you have any recommendations for people to apply, please contact the city clerk's office.
Yeah, exactly. We should say, you can't go until you find your replacement. We won't let you go. So so just me, nothing like I said, the events, I've just been trying to make it to everything, and I've been just very, very pleased with that. So I'm very forward to looking also the grant review process to see what we can project for next year, because I do feel like we are definitely on a roll, and the fact the taste of sounds of Cathedral City was so successful, to do like a mini version of it next fall just shows you we're going to go rolling into the season with a bang, and it just thrills me about everything that's happening here. So that's it for me as well. So I guess that means that we could be done for the evening.
Just if there's any discussion of future agenda items that anyone wishes to bring up, or
we've already decided on the June 3rd meeting. Anything else? Anybody have projects or something? Anybody?
Keep you on the agenda.
Yeah, keep the art festival on the agenda.
Sorry.
We'll do that.
We scheduled a meeting for June 3rd to go over the grants, to review that and decide on which ones we're going to approve. And then June 10th would be our regular meeting. Yep. Then we'll take July and August off, and yep.
No, what I was saying was let's keep the art festival on the agenda.
Yeah, I'll keep it as a standing item.
Definitely. Yep.
I did think of something. I'm in Leadership Coachella Valley, and this Friday is Arts and Culture Day. So we are going to be starting at the McCallum and then on a bus tour, and I think we're ending the day in a gallery. So I will get to spend all of my Friday learning about the arts in the Coachella Valley. So I'm really excited about that.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. We were tasked with wearing all this, our favorite color from head to toe, so it's going to be a
Uh-oh,
fancy kind
we
of-
want to see pictures of the outfit.
And don't forget your checkbook.
Right, I know, right?
Support
Exactly.
the arts.
Right. I guess with that the meeting is, for this evening, is adjourned.